Hello, I'm Jack Rickard with EVTV. This is my co-hostage, Mr. Brian Noto, Esquire.
Et al.
Et al. What do you know, big guy?
Well, here we are, and now this week it's raining in Missouri. It's been raining all
Listen
day.
to the magic of the falling rain.
It was crazy.
Telling me just what a fool I've been.
And there's a whole lot of crazy stuff going on.
Is there?
I,
Hit me, baby.
Well-
What can be crazier than the life we lead?
well, I guess we do have the sales figures out. We can kind of start with that if you want to.
I love to talk about the sales figures, where we're at, where we've been,
And where we plan
What do we
on
know?
going. So the Chevy Volt has hit 1,306 in April. We're talking about April numbers here.
April
Which is-
deliveries.
yeah, which is-
1,306. It's respectable.
Yeah, down a little, but respectable. The Leaf did 1937,
That's considerably better than the Volt, but off 300 from
off 300
last month.
from last month. Yeah, the Toyota Prius plug-in, again down a little bit, 599 over 786 in March. Focus Electric, not much talk about. I mean, 147 cars over 180. IMEV jumped a little bit, but I don't know what they're doing out there.
I can tell you what they're doing, how they jumped from 31 to 127 while their batteries were setting the car on fire.
Oh,
They taped $10,000 to the hood of the IMEF. You could buy this car
with duct tape?
and get money.
Really? That's funny.
It wasn't 10,000 off. You could buy the car and get $10,000 in cash.
Oh man, that's crazy. The RAV4 still isn't doing much. I did talk to a guy though, actually, that has one in California,
What'd you
and he
say?
really likes the car.
I bet.
Yeah, he really does like the car, and he brought up an interesting point about having a J1772 and being able to charge it. It's kind of difficult to charge in campgrounds and places like that. To do the other way, to adapt it.
You know, we've done some work to get the J1772 and more. Had David Kersel do some work.
Right.
But, you know, I've gone back to adding that little,
Just that NEMA.
the NEMA 5-15, and
Yeah.
we get that weather cover version from Renco and combine it with a little billet aluminum
Right.
frame that
Right.
Eric Chris
Yeah.
designed, and it makes a cool thing. But I've added that back to the Escalade now and a
Yeah.
couple other things.
Yeah.
Just so you can plug in anywhere.
Yeah, just in case you need to plug in. But that was his thing, is he was trying to figure out how to do that. And until you're out there, the Honda, they sell 22, 23 a month, I guess.
Those are all compliance cars.
Yeah, they're all compliance cars. Let's see. So I guess we get some reported numbers eventually on the.
A guess on Tesla?
I guess on it's a
2200?
on the Tesla.
A
yes.
Tesla on the Tesla.
Yeah, like 2,200 cars. So that would put us for the month at 7,239. March was a little better by about 600 cars total, but we're looking at everything in the category.
We could be on track for 100,000 cars this year.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
Things are moving along.
Yep, things are moving along quite nicely.
What did I tell you, like 7 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, that if you were going to do an electric car, instead of taking an economy car and trying to bury the cost of the electric components in it and aim for the 24-year-old with his first job and a new baby,
Which, yeah, is not a market for a premium car.
right, then go the other end and go after a premium car
Right.
with at the upscale end.
Right. Less buyers, less vehicles, but more attractive.
Here Tesla is in their 4th full month outselling either the Leaf or the Volt, who have been out there going into their 3rd year.
Yes.
And so here it is. As predicted, and I hardly would cast it as a prediction, it was obvious to me that this is going to be an early adopter market.
Yes.
And you're going to have to go after the guys that qualify to be early adopters.
Right, exactly.
And what appeals to them? A $19,000 Nissan with cloth seats.
Right, a little econo
Designed
box.
for a 24-year-old with his first job and a new baby.
Right. Yeah. With a budget premium on it.
Who is going to be able to buy a premium electric car is going to be late in their career and in their 50s.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, they can buy a Leaf. Why?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You want to get something cool, something.
Why would they? They're just not in a place in life where a Leaf
No.
works.
Hey, you want something high tech, something you can show your buddies.
And by the way, I have to say that both the Volt and the Leaf have shown better than I thought they would, engineering-wise.
Yes. I mean, I've heard really good things about them.
The complaints about the Leaf that I've taken a look at have been really more damning of the Leaf owners than it is
Then
of
the lease,
Nissan.
yeah, we had those guys out in Arizona and
Yeah,
stuff.
right.
And yeah,
And some of it was just clownish.
it's just hooey.
And the Volt guys, they just love the car.
Yes. Yeah.
And John Hardy is doing a Civic build in the UK, Surrey, I think. I always
Okay,
get where he's
okay.
at wrong. I'm not real good on UK
No,
geography. He got him a Vauxhall Ampera,
which yeah.
which is a Volt
Volt,
with
right.
like some plastic wings on it. or
Yes,
something.
right. Yes, it is.
And and he said he just loves the car.
Really?
Just
Cool.
loves it.
Cool.
And so I'd say both of them have worn well, worn better than I thought they would.
Yeah, and that's great news.
To
Great
be
news.
an entirely new model with an entirely new, really, technology for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd say both companies have done very well. And Tesla is screaming along at a couple thousand units a month at the very high end, where that's a big number for BMW
For anybody.
or for Mercedes.
Right, for anybody in that luxury, super luxury class.
And so this is all, it's going better than I would have imagined at this level of penetration.
I think so.
Into the thing. I actually read somebody the other day that said that he didn't really think the adoption curve applied to electric cars.
What?
I'm trying to think what it hasn't applied to since corn seed in
Right.
1958.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and probably
the
before
adoption
that.
curve was developed for the deployment of seed corn to farmers. That's the original paper on adoption curves.
Right, and that's just when they decided to put it in writing.
Yeah.
I think like some guy said about, a sharp stone is better than a dull rock.
Right.
Back in the day,
Right.
everybody liked sharp stones.
Well, this guy actually defined
Yeah.
the curve and its nature and some of
Yep.
its factors in a paper in the early 1960s. Somebody noted that they didn't think it applied to electric cars.
There you go. It must not.
And intergalactic spaceships.
That's right.
Yeah. Perhaps.
Yeah, maybe not.
A first could be, but it's not whether it applies, guys. It applies to everything. It can be a little differently shaped for different things. It can have a different timeline and is subject to slightly different forces, but it's the same shape every time. The same things have to happen. It's just how quickly or slowly they happen. The question isn't whether it applies, it's where we at on it.
Right. Yeah. Where exactly?
And
Where exactly
that's,
are we?
That's anybody's guess. I kind of follow the norms that you're really at the tinker innovator stage until 2.5% market penetration.
Okay. And we're not there.
Not there, and by a lot. What else you got?
Let's see. We did something that actually you had sent over to me today.
Well, that's because you drive one.
About Volvo, and they've made a fairly significant commitment to the electric vehicles and building platforms that can be readily adapted and have we're going to do, I guess, a fast charger, for their
What do they call
vehicles.
it, an E30?
An E30 is the car.
What is it you drive?
Mine is a S40, but it's the same. It's the fastback style of that same car, of the S40. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I drove one once, a loaner car. Though my wife hated it. I kind of liked the car. He was just,
Get a new wife.
it was just different. Well, yeah. I seem to wear out cars and wives.
Your cars usually last
I
long.
know my cars last longer.
The new 22 kilowatt fast charger. Would that be, they didn't mention, but the new Brusa 22 kilowatt fast charger?
That's what I was.
three-phase?
That's what I was thinking. A three-phase
I think
Brusa.
so.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No, I think that's, Volvo is, it's an interesting car company, actually. Volvos, let me see if I get this wrong, typically come out at the very top of the chart for the automotive insurance industry's safety ratings.
Other safety ratings. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
safest passenger car you can be in a wreck.
Yeah, Volvos are always that. They've always been known
Have
for
been
safety.
for 30 years.
Yeah, and they pushed other people, I think, in that direction. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's because they've sold some cars based on
Right,
that.
right, based on safety alone. Yeah.
And they're also quite durable. You see pretty old Volvos trundling around in pretty good style.
Yeah, yeah. No, they do. Mine is weathered very, very well. And there's a lot of people that they have clubs. I think for people you get over a couple 100,000, 300,000, 500,000 miles. You're a hero.
A Volvo Hero.
That's right. You're a Volvo hero.
What else you got?
Oh, well, I suppose in these topsy turmoil times that somebody else would declare bankruptcy here this week.
Don't tell me.
Coda.
Coda.
I guess that they're going to try to sell the whole thing, I suppose. But at least there's no government money tied up in it. They did apply for a $334 million
Yeah,
loan.
this Ford company applied for $300 million in federal government money. They never got
And
it.
they never got
So
it.
they finally withdrew their application.
That's right. Yeah.
Just to hell up.
Yeah, that was, we tried. What the heck? That's right.
This was originally the guy that did the Miles electric car.
Yes.
This is another example of shooting for the bottom. It's actually a very capable electric car. They used LiFePO4 batteries, which I like.
Yes, they did.
They used a lot of them.
Yes,
it
they did.
has the longest range.
It has good,
of
really,
anything
really good
outside of the
range.
Tesla.
Yes, yes.
Good drivetrain. They put it in a cheap Chinese car.
They did.
Now, we've seen this go down in numerous swoops in my lifetime. When I was a kid, Japanese cars were little cheap things. Gosh, everything fell off of them. They were terrible.
Oh yeah, the first little Hondas they imported.
They were awful.
almost a two-seater, almost a motorcycle.
Today, they're some of the highest quality cars in the world. Korea. The joke was the Hyundai's most popular option was the rear window defroster because it would keep your hands warm while you pushed. These cars were terrible. Today, the Hyundai and the Kia,
Yes.
are some of the top-rated new sedans in the
Right,
world.
right. Oh, you're right. Exactly. Yeah.
China's vehicles are just atrocious. We have a little green van. The windshield
Yes.
wipers dangle down in the front like this.
Shut
My
the door.
daughter
The
brought it
window
in.
falls
She
off.
shut the door and the window glass fell down in it. We took it apart. The metal is like pot metal or something like.
Yeah, you
little
couldn't even
pieces
weld
of
it
a
or do
kid's
anything.
tin toil.
Yeah.
There's nothing to weld. There's nothing to solder. There's nothing to drill, really. It took us 4.5 hours to figure out how to put in a screw
Right.
to hold those two
We had to
things
bolt it together.
on the window.
Yeah. We had to bolt it together.
There was nothing there. The carpet, the radio, the knobs, the dash are the cheapest possible plastic you can imagine.
Yes. Yeah.
They simply come apart in your hands. This thing doesn't have 1,000 miles on it.
No.
It's just cheap stem to stern, and that's been the history of the China automobiles. Now, I'm sorry, that's the way it is, but no, it'll change.
It'll change over time, yeah, but
But
not yet.
These guys tried to skip the building the car part by mating this to a Chinese car.
Right.
And they wound up with a very capable car that looked just like about a 2003 Celica.
Right. Didn't have any
It's 10
appeal
years
at all.
out of style.
Yeah.
And And at $37,000, they sold less than 100 of them.
Yeah, I mean, what I read was 78.
Is that right?
They
78
actually delivered, yeah.
Was that the real number?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I recently heard from kind of the engineering head of their drivetrain systems. He really likes EVTV. Just discovered it recently and really likes our show me attitude.
There we go.
So welcome as
Yes.
a viewer. It's not only a little known secret, but it has to remain so that you would be surprised at our viewership among people working in electric car factories.
Yeah, we can't talk
Who
about
have to deal with the corporate beast all day long.
That's right. Yes.
And love to watch me playing with cars just however I like.
Just for the heck of it. That's right.
It's, yeah, there's quite a bit of that going on. We had that in the Board Watch days. It was all hobbyists and crazy entrepreneurs and lunatics, except about half our readership was Fortune 500 corporate guys who didn't want anyone to know they were in the bathroom reading Board Watch.
That's right. Have it delivered to their house in a brown paper bag.
Right. And none of these guys at the Azure Dynamics or Coda or GM wants to be outed that
what they're doing with their spare time.
they're watching EVTV on their lunch hour on their iPhone.
That's right.
Cool. We love all of you.
That's right.
The electric vehicle thing is a industry of passion, and we have people who are passionate about it in all places. A lot of them do work for automakers on electric cars. It's not exactly an accident. They believe in it.
No, that's right. Otherwise, why would they be there? Yeah.
So that's part of our guys.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We couldn't do this without them. I mean, and you can't assume that they're not there just because that's not what you see.
But it's very, very curious for me to hear from various segments of our viewership who explain to me who our viewers are. And I don't know, frankly.
That's right. We don't know.
But I know they don't know.
That's right. That's right. They certainly don't know.
I've got better information than they do. That's right. And it isn't that.
We have email addresses that we answer, and we know who is sending it to us.
The online component sales have put me much better in touch with a lot of things going on than I had been. What else you got? Surely we're going to talk about Tesla sometime in this episode. When do we not?
Nissan is got some put a few guys out there again. Chargers, they and fast chargers. They do understand that that's going to be, it's going to be one of the key things that happen. So they've got some guys, but they're only doing it in places where they're selling a lot of cars.
They talk the
California.
talk, they don't walk the walk.
Yeah,
Nissan has been early and often in 2 years on this fast charger. They're going to have it all in their dealers. They couldn't get all their dealers to put in a candy bar machine.
No.
Number one, they can't even control their dealers. And number two, this is all talk. I think they know what needs to happen. They hope if they announce that they're doing it, somebody else will.
Right.
Because they clearly can't do it. They've never executed on this whatsoever. And so.
Well, and we know it's funny.
I still think they're all going to wind up charging their Leafs in a Tesla.
In a Tesla.
Convenience store and picking up a sack of hose.
Yeah. Well, and part of the problem is, too, that I did read one Nissan guy was saying, at least in the UK, where they do have more of them out there, that you can only charge between 8 o'clock and 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah, right.
That you can't charge when you might need it. And that's during the dealership's business hours. So I don't know what that's about.
We actually last week installed a Dura station outside.
Mm-hmm, we did.
Where people could pull up at night and charge here at EVTV. I don't know that we need to do that, but you put us on plug charge.
We were on plug share since April
share.
of, I think, or so of 2011.
So I thought maybe we ought to put up something.
Instead of having to call us.
I don't know that anybody will ever come, but you don't have to call for a charge.
That's right. We'll check the plug in the morning, see if anyone's used it. Me and racing, I do like, there's another car, E0 is doing a car to, I guess, race against Tajima again this year.
Is that right?
And Reese Mill and everybody at Pikes Peak
What is E0?
E0 is a company that they did actually make and they're I believe a UK company, and they did actually make a electric off-roader that has done 18,000 kilometers, including the Paris-Dakar race, which
Really?
is a very grueling race from Paris to Dakar through the Sahara, I suppose, as part of that
think I
race.
saw a photo of that car, but I never did know the name. E0. So you got one on me here. This is news to me.
Yeah, so they're doing a car, and I guess they're going to bring it out to Pikes Peak, and they want to win the race. You know, they're building a car, carbon fiber, space frame car.
Gotta line them up at the bottom and run them all the way to the top. See
Yep.
what they can do.
See what they can do. They've got a day they do that. Let's see what else. Well, I guess Tesla had a conference call today. It was scheduled for 10:30 Pacific time. I missed it.
I didn't. I heard it.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I've been following the stock quite intensely this week. You know, they have their earnings call next week.
Next Tuesday, I think, or Wednesday.
And
yeah.
he had alluded to this supercharger announcement and has never made it. He had announced a financing program.
Yes.
Then he announced a service program. Today, he announced a financing program.
Oh, a new one?
A little bit.
Okay, but not much.
It's really pretty much the same stuff. I guess he didn't get the response he wanted to it. So they redesigned it slightly. Instead of being based on a 63-month cap rate, they're going to a 72, so your payment's a little lower.
Okay.
They've raised the guarantee on the residual value to 50%
Oh,
after 3 years.
okay.
He purports that you can make payments on the Tesla, give it back to them at the end, and get money because
Really?
you'll have equity built
Because
up
you'll
in the
have
car
equity and
because you'll have over half of it paid and still have half of the thing left. A lot of yada yada about the gasoline savings and the depreciation. Elon, people were kind of counting that as their part, not really your part, and that's almost disingenuous of you to try to explain high finance to people that apparently can afford that.
Right, with fuzzy math.
I did get out of it that they were changing some of the assumptions in their default online calculator, where gasoline wasn't like over $5.
Oh, yeah, which
and
is
that
odd.
your
Yeah.
the amount you can deduct for on your income taxes is based on 70% business use instead of 80.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so it was really a pretty boring announcement.
Okay.
What came out of it? He thinks that in selling the car, about 1% of the population, with the financing, maybe 10% of the population would be a market for Tesla.
All right.
But he does acknowledge these would be people late in their career typically. Well, then he said he thought the average age, and he didn't know, he didn't have any figures, but he was guessing would be 40 to 45 for Tesla owners.
Okay.
I would guess 55 to 60.
Yeah, and it probably skews it a little bit. There's a lot of them in Silicon Valley that may be a little younger.
Perhaps.
You know, but
Yeah, I think
but that's probably what he's seeing too.
That probably is what they're seeing
Yeah.
as they roll out nationally. I think
Yeah, right, I think
age
so.
will go up.
Yeah.
But trying to define a little wider market for the vehicle, which implies to me that their sales have maybe not been disappointing, but have not overwhelmed them.
Right, and they need to try to expand the market a bit. Yeah, yeah, in the marketing.
Twice announcing the same thing. He was acknowledging that some of the media and some of their owners had critiqued his assumptions and the value proposition there, and so they made some adjustments.
Okay.
I think it was quite notable. What was more notable to me was the lack of a supercharger announcement.
Oh, okay. Supercharger.
See, if they would do this supercharger my way, they wind up being the standard setter in a lot of ways for electric vehicles.
Right.
And if you don't do it the Tesla way, you don't.
You're not doing it.
Get to pull into the cool place and get the fast charge.
Right, right.
And it's a little less non-trivial than I had described it when you're talking about those power levels.
Yes, right. Yeah.
But and the investment, when you start to include bathrooms that are like country clubs, and cappuccino machines, and vitamin water, and
Yeah. Not leather chairs and things.
leather chairs and things, wireless.
Yeah.
You know, you can take that to kind of an upscale, couple $1 million place.
Right.
You know, 1,100 of them is kind of a lot,
Right.
or even 500 of them.
Yeah.
Say.
Yeah.
But I still think, in fact, Solar City has gone up to, they reached $28 this week.
Really.
Tesla hit 58, it's trading about 55 right now. Still haven't got the April 1st issues, but still apparently 42% sold short.
Oh, okay.
A
Yeah.
guy in Bloomberg News has suggested that Apple buy Tesla. I'm really heroically offended. He did not credit us at all. We laid this out in detail, chapter and verse,
Yes.
last July 7th, on video and in the blog, that Apple should buy Tesla. That's the perfect move for them. I actually sent an email to Tim Cook this week and to Elon's administrative assistant at SpaceX.
Oh, okay.
And again, suggested they should do that.
Just
And
reiterated it.
it just makes a lot of sense to me. I'm sure Tim Cook is an able administrator and executive chef and car parker.
Yep.
I'm not taking anything away from him. He does not have the dramatic flair that Steve Jobs does.
No.
He cannot introduce TVs and wristwatches fast enough to avoid essentially a collision with the law of big numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is a
coming.
brutal thing
Yeah.
that happens to rapidly growing
Yeah.
companies. If you grow at a 3,000% compound annual growth rate,
Man.
pretty quickly you
gonna-
get to be real big.
Yeah.
And for a $1 billion company to grow 30%, they need $300 million in new business.
Yeah, that's right.
$10 billion company, you need $3 billion. $100 billion company, you need $30 billion.
30 billion, yeah.
$30 billion just doesn't fall off like
No.
adding a wrist strap option to the iPhone. That's
Right,
not
yeah.
going to happen.
No, that's a lot of sales, a lot of marketing.
Worse is they make all that money in iPads and iPhones. It attracts a lot of Me Too guys that like a little bit of that money too. And they don't have to have all of it if they can just be good enough to get some
just
of
get
it.
a piece.
That would be okay.
Yeah, just get a little piece of
And
the action.
so Apple is under attack, really in retreat on 2 or 3 issues, but most of them have to do with the law of big numbers. Where are they going to find the next $30 billion market?
Right, yeah, what slice are they going to find?
And their announcements and their leadership may be perfectly competent. They're not magic.
No,
They don't make my heart go pity pat.
Right.
These guys have been on a 5, 6, 7 year ride on Apple stock based on huge growth and dramatic announcements
Yes.
with a flair.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
I thought Elon
Exactly.
was the guy until he makes 2 financial announcements in the same month. My goodness, what's that about, Elon? Come on, get your face out of the lawn and get back to gazing at the clouds. But the problem is really if Apple goes into anything in their space, it's an instant antitrust situation.
Right, because, yeah.
What are they going to acquire that would bring them big income bucks?
Right, that wouldn't be, and someone wouldn't try to sue them over.
Assume the government would
Yeah,
sue them, but
the
it would
government.
be instant.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I
the
mean,
government try to sue them over it.
What would
Yeah.
they go into? Yet here, Elon Musk owns Solar City, Tesla, and SpaceX.
Yeah,
These are 3 unlimited markets,
yeah,
and mostly unformed markets, but
right.
of unlimited potential
yeah,
that eat a lot of cash getting to.
Yes.
Apple's got 140 billion. And mystically and beyond all comprehension, they sold $17 billion in bonds
This week, yeah.
To what? Raise capital to do what? They have 3 times the holdings of the United States Federal Treasury
Yeah, yeah.
in cash.
Yeah, and they said they were going to like pay some big dividends in 2014, but they already had cash. What? I don't know. I don't know.
I have no idea. This
Know.
doesn't make any sense at all. They have a huge war chest.
Oh yeah, it's big.
And no place to spend it that won't immediately get them a go to jail card. And so, how did they get out of that? Well, here's Elon Musk. Automobiles is an $80 billion market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Tesla right now owns 0.00 zip twit of it.
Right. Yeah, with a few thousand cars out there.
With the best press on a new car entry ever.
Yeah. Car of the year.
You would think it had changed automotive world
Yeah, the automotive
forever.
history. Yeah, it should be different.
Now that they've sold 6,000 cars out of 15 million in the U.S. this year.
Yes. Yeah.
What is that? The Solar City. Solar City is a very interesting company. Not a great deal of technology, but actually great execution, and mostly a great financing.
Yes.
See,
Yeah.
they've got it
Strong
rigged up
financing, yeah.
where they come to your house and tell you, we'll put solar on your roof. You make us a payment. Your electricity bill will go down this much, and here's what you wind up making on the deal.
Right.
Oh, and it
Yeah.
doesn't cost you anything out of your pocket. We'll just come do this for you.
Yeah, well, next Tuesday be good?
Right. They're doing churches, Walmarts, businesses, homes, and it's really a financing program.
Yeah.
I think that's where Elon gets this
The financing
finance
bent.
the car thing.
Yeah, financing bent for Tesla.
What kind of panels are they going to use and what kind of inverters? Nobody knows or cares.
No.
It's not about the technology. It's about they'll come and put it on your roof. Your electricity bill will go down. You take most of that and hand it to the to the finance
company. Yeah.
And then as the electricity rates rise, you just keep looking better and better and better for the next 15, 20 years.
That's right.
Until you could be actually making some pretty serious money.
I think so. Yeah.
And so it's a financing play. SpaceX, in essentially 0 time, has gone from 0 to being the low-cost orbit package
I know, just a delivery service.
worldwide.
That's right.
And they've got $50 billion in contracts now.
I know. Yeah.
$50 million.
Yeah, $50 million, yeah. And what, and wasn't Branson trying to compete with them now, or with his own, like, Virgin Galactic or something?
Virgin Intergalactic. To infinity and beyond.
And beyond, Buzz. That's right.
What these 3 companies do for Apple is position them where they can deploy resource into markets that don't have a topper. They don't have a lid on them.
And no antitrust.
And no antitrust.
Yeah.
Now, why would Elon want to do any of this?
Cash.
What's he need cash for? Yeah, well, you're right, cash. If they make him the CEO
Yeah.
of the whole shoot match,
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
he's got 140,
Now
now
he's got
$157 billion
That's right.
to sort out his underwear drawer with.
That's right.
And get things lined up the way he wants them to go.
You get it all moving forward. Yep.
And so now you start to picture your workplace, your computer, your mobile thing, your iPad, your iPhone, your car, and your home.
Right. Completely
With
integrated.
assuming
Yeah.
there'll be an ITV.
Right.
This all
It's all integrated and it's relatively seamless.
integrated and relatively seamless.
Yeah. Wow.
There are some unbelievable, unexplored synergies there.
Yes. No. Right.
culturally, are they a match? Elon Musk, green Tesla, Solar City, Apple iPhone, iPad, they're all in the same geography.
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
within
Yeah.
a few miles of each other. It's the same people, same kind of people work there.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
culturally a dead match.
Yeah, I don't think there's any.
And it's all about being the future, being sleek, modern, highly designed technology for the future.
Yes, yeah. No, it's an interesting synergy.
I could not lay out a better merger from the whole group of companies that are out there. If I got to pick any two, I can't.
Right,
Do
right
better
now.
than this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. Very interesting.
It's just
Yeah.
too good.
It is. Just too good to be true.
And of course, you made all that with a nationwide structure of
Oh, stops. That's right. Where the big money is.
with the big gulp Bloomberg Coca-Cola
Yeah, that's right.
and
128 ounce.
and fast chargers and kind of this is like, what are we going to do today, Pinky? Well, we're going to try and take over the world. This is a pretty easy hand.
Yep.
So we're going to repeat it, and we didn't get it from Bloomberg. These guys issued no credit to us on this at all.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
We went all over this last July.
What's this world coming to?
What's this world coming to? It's just so that's my rant about the thing. I'm still looking for a supercharger, but it's going to be after their earnings call.
right.
They're going to make it part of the earnings call. Is they need to be talking. He's even said they were going to do an announcement on superchargers, and then it's kind of, so maybe they're doing some further thinking on it, or
Maybe they're costing out all the Twinkies.
Twinkies back.
I know that's it is. No, that's what I'm saying. You can get
Yes.
Twinkies now. Yes.
Yeah, you can get Twinkies again.
Yep. The world is good. It's in balance.
All is back right with the world.
That's right.
Somebody bought the Twinkie.
They bought the Twinkie.
So there is life after Hostess.
That's right.
By the way, on Coda, they're trying to sell that. It's really kind of a swap out deal. They have developed kind of a line of business in energy management for buildings and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I read.
And I've
That's-
got pretty good contracts coming in the door, but they don't have anything to do with electric
No,
cars.
no, not at all.
And so they're trying to do that thing. But yeah, life after Hostess, Twinkies lives.
They're back.
They're back. Twinkies and ding dongs.
Well,
So that's,
you gotta love it.
Yes, you can stop and get your Twinkie and your Bloomberg NYC Big Gulp
That's right.
and fast charge your car.
There you go.
And it would be very cool. Are we done with the news?
Yeah. Let's.
We've ranted, we've raved.
Should we
we've
show
carried
them,
on.
show them around the shop?
You
maybe,
want to
what we've done
actually
or
look
something?
at some electric car things?
What do you think, guys? Look at some electric cars.
Think the thing.
All right. Think thing.
Think thing. Let's look.
Yeah.
Brain, let's update them a bit on the VW thing.
Okay, look good. Project's coming along real nice.
I think so. I'm getting kind of excited. Ed Clausen is supposed to have his Shield, the first prototypes
yeah.
done
Yeah, good.
this week
Perfect. And that,
with Wi-Fi on them, 2 CAN buses,
oh, geez.
and Colin Kidder has been hard at work on the software. These guys have turned into
they're-
a couple of stallions.
They are. They're really working at it.
On
yeah,
this
yeah.
generalized electric vehicle control unit thing. And I think they're kind of excited. We've got a rolling.
Well, we have a place to
possibility.
use it. Yeah, and we're moving ahead. Yeah.
And so they're supposed to, in like a week to 2 weeks, I sent them an Arduino DUI and a really nice aluminum enclosure
I saw that.
with a weatherproof USB port
Oh,
and a 3-watt, 12 volt to 12 volt DC converter to isolate our Arduino DUI from our trashy 12 volt system in the car.
Right.
We kind of have to harden this stuff a little bit for EMI and isolate it from the power supply. And he's put some pin protection on his shield. So we're kind of hardening this thing up a little bit. The Arduino is kind of the chip out to some pins. And if you don't add quite a bit to it, it's a little sensitive.
Okay, well, good. Well, that sounds like it's coming along really nice. Yes.
It is, and I'm kind of excited about it. We've continued. Now, this is not as dramatic a progress as we made. Of course, I continued our cell balancing here and have our noodles, but I put in one of our Brusa chargers. This is ideal for this application.
Yes.
Because I think we're going to have 100 or 102 cells, I forget which, on the thing, but a little over 332
Yeah, that's nice.
volts.
Yes.
And this charger will do that at up to 3.3 kilowatts.
Okay, however you divide it up. Huh?
And we could put in 2 chargers and actually probably have enough room to stack them. But I think one will be adequate. And so we put it in. This week we had a sale on Brusa chargers.
Yes, we did.
How many of them did you say we sold?
13.
13
Yes.
in a week.
In a week. Yes.
That's pretty good.
I did that.
That's pretty good since they didn't know about it till Sunday.
Right, when it goes up on Sunday.
And it went down today
Yeah,
at noon.
yeah, till today at noon, yeah.
And so that's pretty good. There have been some confusion about the cables. And it's one of the things I like the best about this charger, which is ironic, since some of our earlier viewers will recall that I burned my hands pretty badly on this charger, disconnecting this with the maintenance switch still on.
Yeah, you still had it all on.
And somehow this blew up, burned out completely, and threw a fireball up here about like this. I thought I was dead, but it simply flash burned my hands. If that happens to you, we discovered a very interesting thing during that.
Yes.
I immediately walked into the kitchen and ran cold water on it. And the hand that had really gotten burned was my right hand.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so I held it under the water, and that kind of took the sting out. But every time I'd pull it out of it, it would start to burn again. So I was there about 30 minutes maybe.
Really? Wow.
Running 55-degree water on it. This hand, which had just barely gotten a sunburn, I had underneath it, so it had a little bit of water on it, but not much. By the end of the week, this one's wrapped up
That's right.
in, what do they call it, silver oxide
Yes,
or something,
yes.
and bandages, and this one was fine.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, yeah.
Cold water on, not type 3 burns, but on light burns, type 1 and 2, is actually, you can very extremely limit the cell damage by just running water on it.
Just getting the heat off of it.
Just,
huh?
exactly,
Yeah.
just getting the heat
Just
out
getting
of
the heat
it.
off. Wow.
But that was quite a lesson learned. In any event, this particular connector is kind of hard to come by. We got the chargers in the Azure Dynamics liquidation.
The raid on Livonia.
Right. And so this charger, which we have bought twice before,
Yes.
was between $3,000 and $4,000. The last one we bought, I think, was about $3,600 or $3,700.
I think so. Yeah.
That charger, we got in Livonia, and we've been selling them at $19.95, which is a
Yes,
hell of a price.
That's really a deal.
And this week we dropped it to $14.95, and they just went crazy.
They
over
did.
it.
13.
But problem was it comes with no cables,
Yes.
and that's how we got them. I was able to locate some, and the thing is, this cable here is for the battery connection, and the one underneath it is for your mains, your AC input.
Right.
These are rather peculiar connectors, and I did locate some really nice orange. You know how they're covered in a thick vinyl, and
Right,
so
that
we're
was
factory
pretty
built
cool.
cables
Yes, yes.
for the Azure Dynamics. Of course, one of them looks like it's about 26 feet long, but it has the J1772
Yeah.
connector on
Yeah,
it.
which is pretty cool. Yeah.
And I wasn't able to get enough for all our chargers. So we've had them on the website as an option for this, if you don't specifically click on it, it's another $200 and probably going up. I found a few more, but I had to pay more
That's what I
for
understand,
them.
yeah, they're a little more dear this time.
So we'll probably be raising the price on the cables. However, this works fine without them. What we have done, at considerable expense in time mostly, hand me some of this stuff. This is the connectors. One has pins and no seal, and the other one has a seal and kind of socket pins. So you have this insert, the pins that go in from the back, and they're solder pins. They're not crimp pins. You solder these onto the wires and push them in, and they click into position quite securely, really. And then they go in this housing, which has tabs on the side and a screw hole in the top. Oh my goodness! Well, there's all my pins.
Yeah, without wires, they fall out.
Yeah. So that goes in there, and then your wires come out. And this is threaded. I just used some of our split wire loom and taped it around here, and it works fine for me. We did not use one of the cable sets because they're rare around here.
They're rare, yes.
But more importantly, there's my JLD, my J1772 right over there.
Yeah, right there.
We poured a little terminal block for the AC at an angle, and you can see it kind of then sits up level on the angle.
That's funny. It's
thing.
level.
Isn't it amazing how I matched that with a bolt head, I think, under a plastic screw tray out of one of those organizers.
Out of the drawers, yeah.
And poured it with plastic. And it's like dead level. But so we don't have to go very far. I don't need 26 feet of cable.
No, we don't. No, not at all.
And so we made these up out of the pins. It's not hard to do. You have to be able to solder. And the pin outs are quite clearly depicted in the book that is available for download on the online store with the Brusa. Mm-hmm. They have a PDF you can download that's got all in German and English, I think.
It is, both German and English, yes.
The other connection is an amp seal 23. And we include all these pins and inserts and housings and this and pins and a little DB9. So you can assemble all this. And it comes with the charger. You're not going to have any problems having cables. You just have to kind of piece them together. Why am I not more sympathetic about that? The ones we bought, we did get these two cables.
Right.
But the amp seal and the thing, we got in a plastic
Plastic
Ziploc bag,
just like
very
it was.
similar to the one we're sending you
That's right.
from Brusa.
That's right. Yeah, from Brusa. Yeah.
And they include two little thermistors if you want the charger to be able to measure battery
Yes.
temperature.
Yes.
I actually chased them down in there in your kit too. I've never used them, but
Yeah,
use
they're
them
in there.
just like
Yeah, they're in there.
So that's what comes with the Brusa. And the Brusa is very high quality and very programmable charger.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And I like it. It was too overpriced. It's still quite an investment at $2,000. Not so bad at $1,500. Apparently, they were storming in for that. But you can't really get a TCCH charger for that. Well, it's about that. So this is kind of a special time for Brusas. There's something else going on.
Ah, okay.
They are discontinuing the Brusa entirely at Brusa.
Oh.
The NLG 513, which is the model that this is. The
Right.
I guess it's a 3.6 kilowatt charger. I always call it a 3.3. It's 3.6.
Okay. All right.
As of August, they will be no more. Now, they'll support them for 2 years after that, but they're not going to have any more of them. They're selling them in Europe for 1,200 euros.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which doesn't work out to be too much different than our 1995.
No.
It's about with the cables. It's about $1,800.
Yeah.
And that's so that's what you're looking at So it's kind of the end of the Brusa age. They have a new 22 kilowatt charger. I just don't have much information about it. I think it's more expensive,
Oh,
but it runs off of European 3-phase. I think it'll run off our single and split phase too, but not at 22 kilowatts.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
so I just have to find out more about that. We've kind of got it in with Bruce. It's conceivable, although actually the gals I was talking to at Brusa aren't there anymore.
Oh.
So there's
we don't
kind
have
of some changes going on
Some
at
turnover
Brusa.
at Brusa, okay.
A lot of these guys that were so snotty about selling to OEMs and selling through specific people
Right,
and so
right.
forth, they're kind of getting a reluctant new religion, but it's coming at a bad time when they're reducing their workforce by half, and things just didn't really work out for them.
Yeah, on the OEM wise? Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, well, and business-wise.
yeah.
So your battery cable, we have a shunt here that goes to the negative most battery terminal. This is our JLD 404 meter shunt.
Yes.
One side of it is connected to our negative most battery terminal, which is right at the first cell in this
Right
box.
here, yeah.
And so we have connected our battery terminal from the Brusa to the opposite side of the shunt.
Yes, right, right.
You know, obviously, this goes on to the back of the vehicle to a post where we connect it to our DMOC. But the reason we connect it to this side is so if we're discharging, the current goes through the shunt. We read it on the JLD 404. If we're charging, you simply want to make sure it's on the right side of the shunt to where the current also goes through the shunt when you're charging.
When you're charging, yeah, okay.
We've had quite a few comments, and you know, I have to say that I've had the same experience, and that's basically that what goes out of the battery pack and what comes back in with the JLD 404, it doesn't really zero out.
Okay, okay.
And the reason is we've been selling with, and people have been buying, these great big shunts.
Oh,
Royce
Okay,
Wood, for
yeah.
example, had a 1500 amp shunt
uh-huh.
at 75 millivolts. 1 millivolt is then like 20 amps,
Right, yes.
and he's charging at 12.
Yeah, so you're going to get some errors, accumulation.
So you're going to have a very different
Yeah.
experience when you're driving at a couple 300 amps than when you're charging at 12.
Right, at 12, yes.
And so the JLD 404 has some limits to accuracy there.
Mm-hmm.
But part of it is simply the proper sizing of the shunts. What do you drive mostly? Okay, you can make 1,000 amps. How long are you going to drive at 1,000 amps? The JLD 404 will display up to 9,999 amps at the ratio that you gave it.
Right, at the ratio on the shunt, yeah, right?
Right.
Right.
So that it's a 500 amp shunt. You can measure 9,000 amps through that shunt until the point where it melts.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Well, 14 seconds isn't going to melt
No,
it
it's
at
not.
any current level.
No,
They're pretty stout.
yeah.
If they heat up, it throws them off a little bit, but you're not going to be driving your 1,000 amp system at 1,000 amps for very long before you're going at the speed of sound, and you don't care what the meter reads. You're worried about all the parts that are flying off.
That's right. Keeping your skin on your face.
Your average, or what you're mostly doing, is 200 or 300 amps, and a 500 amp shunt is almost overkill.
Right.
I kind of like the 500s because it's about half of the 1,000 that you might see. In this case, it's gross overkill because this vehicle will never go beyond 350
Right,
amps.
350, yeah.
And so the smaller the shunt, the better the accuracy. And the more easily it can differentiate between the low charge value and the high drive value.
Sure.
And as you get to bigger shunts, that ability decreases.
Yeah.
And so
Makes
with,
sense,
with,
yeah.
with a 100 amp shunt, if you're only going to ever drive 200 amps, and you're measuring 12 amps, it zeroes
Pretty
out
good.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. Yeah.
The Escalade, for example, I do a lot of 750 amp work. That's through 2 motors and controllers,
Right,
but
right.
the batteries still see it at 750 amps. Charge typically at 35.
Right, yeah.
And so, the problem shows up there pretty good. But in most cars, it's not too bad. But if you find that after you charge, it seems like you put more back in the battery than you took out, we're kind of at the limitation of what you can do with shunts in the JLD 404.
Right, right.
It will be more accurate at the discharge level because you have larger samples to work from and more closely aligned to your shunt sizing.
Right, yeah, shunt
The
size.
error comes in when you're charging at 15 or 20 amps.
Right.
And doing that for hours. However much it's off cumulatively for hours.
For hours, yeah, yeah.
And so the error is really on the charge side, not on the discharge side, which is handy because we can drive the vehicle with some assurance of how much is coming out of there
Right.
with a JLD 404.
Right.
The problem is when you're putting it back in at a fraction of that. In any event, I digress. You obviously want the connection to be on this side. We added a little a bar here. A lot of time making these connections, I like these little bars that are like connection bars.
Yes.
They have 4 or 5 things stuck up that are all connected together with a plate at the bottom. Here's one for the 12 volt, and we have a little fuse panel here, and this is a red wire with a fuse that goes to the back of the vehicle. We'll eventually have actually it's probably not going to go to the back of the vehicle, it'll probably go right here where we'll add a DC to DC converter.
sure.
I have not got that yet because these are kind of high voltage packs, and I have some special DC to DC converters coming from China. I think you're going to like 800 watts.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty
Twice
cool.
the
Yeah.
power that we've been carrying,
Yeah.
and in a wider voltage input configurations. So I'm kind of excited to get those and test them. If all that works out, they'll be in the store. If they blow up in front of me, maybe not.
Yeah,
not
that's right, it
everything
depends.
makes the cut around here. But that's the concept here for the 12 volt. But this is, and we have a wire, it goes down through this grommet and goes back with our big cables all the way to the back of the vehicle to where our positive terminal is tied to one of the terminals in the rear battery box. And this size wire is all I need because I'm going to be charging at 12.5 amps.
Right.
Now get just a little bit, well, I could get away with a probably 14 gauge wire at 12.5 amps. But
Yeah, you could.
get
It's-
bigger than you
yeah.
need
Yeah.
for those kind of currents because heat and the ability of that wire to carry that, you may be within spec, but understand you could be doing it for 6 or 7 hours.
Right, it's going to accumulate too. Yeah.
And so I tend to, get
Yeah.
a 10 gauge wire and just kind of cut away the end where what I need is going in a pin. It's along the length I need the extra copper.
Right.
And so that's what we've done there. But I have a little bar here where I can tie all this together, and I have my positive battery cable going to that. And we'll then be able to tie in our JLD 404. Here's our positive, here's our negative, here's our shunt, and here's our 12 volt. And this is a ground, and I've got all my connections for the JLD 404 meter right here.
That's nice.
The other connector is our AC mains, and it goes again to our 2 phases and neutral right there. Here's my AVC2. The Bruce is said to be J1772 compatible, and to some degree it is.
Okay.
It takes a co-pilot signal and can detect the available current from the square wave signal that your J1772 is supposed to put out for how much current it can make available.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't really do the logic and so forth to turn on the EVSE.
to do the
So
handoff
I've got
and
Dave
stuff, yeah.
Kurzel's AVC2 here as well. And so we've wired into that. And I've wired my co-pilot signal which is on the mains connector into that, along with the co-pilot from the J1772. We're all so close together here, even his pigtail on the J1772 was adequate to reach all this. So we don't have to do a lot of wiring here with regards to links.
No.
And so that's working out quite well. And so, well, again, Shane's been putting on this split loom. We have that on the website in several different sizes. It's just cheap plastic stuff that splits and you can put the wires in, but it sure tidies things up.
It looks really nice, yeah.
He's also putting some nice clamps on these cables and stuff to keep those in place. So I'm real happy with the way this is coming out. After EVCon last year, I was embarrassed to open my hood.
Some of the guys showed up with
some of the guys,
well-engineered
all their wires
stuff.
would go along in parallel, and then they'd all turn 90 degrees in parallel and stuff, and they'd all be clamped down individually. Oh my goodness! I'm like, whew. Man, you gotta be some kind of a fruitcake to do all that. But the result was very, very pleasing.
looks
These are
nice.
guys that know how to build show quality cars.
Yeah.
But if you do that, they also, tend to last longer because they're all done right.
Yeah, not going to vibrate.
I get in
things
a little
like that,
hurry
yeah.
to see how it's all going to work, and don't quite do
We get a
it.
couple straight wires every now and then, do we?
Right, only accidentally.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I'll have to do this amp seal. The minimal configuration is really you wire up 3 wires for an RS-232 connection, so you can program it.
Yes, right.
Ground and 12 volts, and pins 2 and 3 have to be connected together for it to operate at all in automatic fashion.
Okay.
And what that does, wiring pin 2 to 3, if I add AC current to this will come up and start charging in automatic mode.
Oh, okay.
3 modes: automatic, which is how we usually use it; boost, which is when you're coupling a couple of them together artfully. I actually do them unartfully and set one of them to a lower voltage value than the other, so they charge together up to a certain point, and then one of
it's
them
off,
drops up
yeah.
off and the other one does.
Yeah.
That's boost mode. And then mode C is CAN bus controlled. CAN bus control is a special feature of Brusa where you can have a BMS control your charger and burn your car to the ground, especially if it's on a ferry crossing the ocean. And
Going us on its
then
way
you
to
can-
Sweden or something?
Yeah, right. You can take your whole hangar for the vehicles in the ferry with it, and other cars and everything else.
Make a French fry mess, huh?
Yeah, don't ask me how I know, but what was the name of the company? A-Future. They were using a BMS from, what's his name? He came to the first EVCon.
The British guy?
Yeah,
Leap?
Dennis Dorfler.
Yeah, from Leap Systems.
Leap Systems, yeah. They made the BMS. A-Fun was the guys doing the Nissan Qashqais.
Or the Cash guys, yes.
And burned a couple of them
Yeah.
to the ground. And so we don't use that mode very much. We are developing our own way to burn cars to the ground. That's a,
Secret Stealth Works.
and that's again what do you call it? Arduino to run the TCCH charger.
Yeah.
So you too will be able to burn vehicles to the ground shortly. I have to do some more testing on that. Make sure
right.
we
Make sure it
get
happens.
it up to
That's
ignition
right.
temperature.
Yes.
And so that's what's going on there. So that's our charger installation. As I alluded, we'll have a DC to DC converter here. Let's take a look at the rear battery box. Shane has done some work to that. That's kind of interesting.
All right, let's do it.
Reno Shano has kind of completed our battery box in the rear.
It's
I
looking
had
nice,
it-
too.
Had him put some more substantial bolts down through it. We did a lid with our seamless bed liner
Yeah, I like that.
covering.
That headliner's really great.
He put 4 kind of largish bolts down through the body of the car to
Okay.
secure this very strongly to the vehicle.
Good, we're bolted in real tight. Nice.
And he
nice.
came up with a piece of plastic on the bottom so it would be even, and the
Oh,
bolt
so the
heads
batteries
wouldn't. He
yeah.
cut holes for the bolt heads
Yeah.
where the batteries wouldn't be, all different heights.
And it probably won't rub either. Probably no chance of any chafing on bolt heads either. Yeah.
Right,
Nice.
right.
Good
And
job.
So that's all. I don't have them strapped up yet. We have two gland nuts here on one end that go down through the vehicle. Now, one of those cables is it would be from our most positive terminal of the battery up there. It actually goes through a maintenance switch and a contactor
Oh, okay. That's what.
from the most positive terminal, and then up to here, and it comes up and it's connected right here to our most negative terminal of this box back
Right,
here.
okay.
Goes up one side, back the other. Then we have another cable, again a 1/0 shielded, that goes down, and we connect it to one of those big terminal bars.
Terminal box. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah.
And
That's
then
nice.
we'll connect the charger wire up to that, the positive terminal from the DMOC,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so forth
Okay.
underneath. So this is just a box for batteries. It's the most accessible to people in the car. So we bolted it down very securely. It's behind the rear seats. It'll have a lid on it. It'll have noodles in it.
Right.
And I think you'll be able to roll the car several times, and this is not going to break loose. He's got big fender washers underneath for the bolts.
Oh, sure. Super.
And so that's all bolted down there pretty good.
Looks nice.
We've got angle irons here, of course, then the screws for the top are threaded down through, and I don't think this could come apart.
No, I don't think so either. No.
And so it's quite secure. And that is the completion. We have 22 cells, 44 cells here, and 59 up front.
Okay.
Is that
So
right?
that would give us 103.
Yeah, maybe we have 42 cells here and 59 up front, 21 on each side, and then 59 up front for 101.
101 cells. Yeah. Okay.
And that'll give us about 325 volts nominal.
Okay.
After a full charge, it'll be about 335 or 336,
Right,
something
okay.
like that.
Good.
And that's a good operate. That's almost exactly what Azure Dynamics was doing with the E-Transit connector
Oh, okay. Okay.
for voltage.
Very good.
And I guess I can show you underneath what he put together.
All right.
Braden? I always am a little squishy standing under the car. Number one, it might fall on us.
I know.
Number two, how do you shoot video down here where anybody can make any sense of it?
Hello out there.
Are we cut off at the chin?
Yeah.
Take a look up here. We have our two cables going up into the battery box.
I like that. That's very nice.
And then one of them comes down, and you should see a bar, a Blue Sea current bar. They're good for a couple 300 amps. And our cord from the DMOC up here, positive, goes to that. Our positive charge cord, which again is orange to denote high voltage, comes all the way from the front to the back here. And something else is hooked up to that. Well, of course, the cable from the
Cable
battery
from the
box.
battery box. Yeah.
And so that's, you can see the couple of the bolts there between the cables with fender washers and so forth, kind of 5/16 type bolts holding that on. This, if you can see it, is a plastic cover that actually goes over. It's kind of a splash guard.
Splash guard, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's to keep you from touching the current bar. Nobody's going to be under here touching it anyway.
No, they've got problems
But
already if they are.
it'll keep us from mud splattering.
Yes, that's right.
You know, so when we take this off, our connections will still be kind of clean and bright and so forth. On this side, we really only have the negative cable connecting to the negative cable of the DMOC 645. So we just used a single post
Single post, yeah.
system there and have the two of them kind of clamped together on that post. We were able to cut these cables from the DMOC to length to where we don't have a whole bunch of it wadded up here. And he sort of clamped them up where they run clear of our transmission clutch connection and all of this, which will be jumping up and down, so it won't rub. And that's kind of the underneath part, you know, from what you can see. And it makes a pretty tidy connection. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Looking nice.
So that's sort of the thing circa, what is today, May 4th?
Today's May 3rd.
May 3rd. And that is the thing. And we're waiting for Ed Clausen and Colin Kidder to send me a control unit. We still have to route through the little tube our cable for our accelerator.
Yes.
And
right.
we have to put in a brake transducer, which is going to entail some brake bleeding and gnashing of teeth. But
Yeah, we're going to open up one of those ports on the master cylinder.
so that's, and I think by starting with some fairly simple functionality on the GevCoo, we'll be able to turn wheels and go back and forth and so forth in pretty short order. Nothing dramatic.
No, but there isn't that much more to do, though.
It's coming together very nicely.
Yeah, they're just
and that's
different.
kind of the message I wanted to bring across. This thing is kind of looking a little integrated and
Yeah.
and pretty well laid out. I'm very hopeful about Ed Clausen and
sounds-
Colin Kidder's
Yep.
work. I got him a nice shiny aluminum box from Taiwan.
Yeah, I
Put
saw
all
that when you
in,
sent it out with all the
and
stuff.
a weatherproof
Looking good.
B-type USB plug
Yep.
that you put in the box and then wire into the Arduino DUI,
Yeah, it's going to be
which
cool.
has a special micro USB port that you have to have a special cable
Special
for.
cable for. Oh.
And then and I put in a little DC to DC converter I found that does 3 watts and will isolate it from your 12 volt and some stuff like that. So they're gonna get that together with a shield this week,
Cool.
and
Cool.
we'll be able to do dual CAN bus, which would be like one for the DMOC and one for a TCC
Going for
charger.
a
example.
charger, yeah. Yep.
And so a lot of things going on there. I think this car's going to roll pretty quick.
I do too. I mean, there's not a lot holding it back. Just that control unit. It sounds like they're getting that all sorted out.
Guess what? Me and Shane are having quite a bit of fun with.
What are you
That
doing?
old
That?
pickup truck we picked up. From
Oh, the
Gerald
one we
Bottom
showed
down
him
there.
last week?
Yeah, let's take a look.
All right.
I'm here at the Gerald Bottom Toyota Tacoma SR5 we introduced last week with Shane Marchesa. Is that close?
It's close, Jack. It's actually Martin Sack.
Mark Zach.
Yeah.
Good Irish name.
Yeah.
Shane led a mutiny on a riverboat here recently and was put ashore and went to work for me then.
Yeah. That's an easy way of putting it.
And so he lives over in Illinois, 14 miles away. We don't have a charger on this truck, and we don't have a heater. And these are big cells, 200 amp hour. If you recall from our last Underdog Adventure, Shane had swapped out cell number 41 and 42. And we wanted to see, number one, why did cell 41 go bad? And that is, did Mr. Botteron actually bottom balance these cells? And so we needed to drain them down. And I asked Shane, who was very reluctant to do so, but agreed under duress that he would drive the truck home and show it off to everybody in Southern Illinois and drive it all over Southern Illinois, the part I didn't actually ask him to do, and drive it back about a total of a little over 55 miles. And we got it back. The cells were what? Maybe 3.15, 3.2 volts even after all that. He went out and I asked him to drive another 6 to 8 miles. Instead, he drove 9
Yeah.
and brought it back, and they were down under 3 volts.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of a lot under.
A lot.
In fact, they were quite a bit under our 2.75 volts.
Yeah.
And so we used a charger that I have some clamps on that we turn off and on. I think we've burned it up now. To go through and bring up each cell to about 2.80.
Yeah.
And then they would fall back down. Shane, tell me about that experience. What did you find when you tried to bottom balance these at 2.75 volts?
Well, you know yourself that they're each different, and some of them will charge faster than the others, but also they, just in reverse, they will discharge faster than, I don't know. They're all
if
different.
you charge it above 2.75, it falls down.
Yeah.
But if you're above 2.75 and you bleed it down, they bounce back up.
They bounce up. They're very bouncy.
They're very bouncy.
Yeah.
Well, at 200 amp hours, yes, more so than at 60 amp hours, simply because you have a larger battery there. Oddly, what did you find with the 2 cells that we replaced?
Well, they would take a charge and they would hold it for what, I don't know, 4 hours, and then it would just completely drop off,
That was one of the 2.
That was one of the 2, yeah.
Now, these were some of the 8
Yeah.
that we got from Gerald Bonaron that he had very carefully put on a float charger every week and overcharged for us.
Yeah.
And you do not need to do that at all. And one of the 8 has proven bad.
Was bad.
One of
Yeah.
the 2 we took out that I took up at the lab, if you recall, had 195 amp hours. I just so happened to have it down around 2.75 volts. So we trimmed it up on the bench and swapped it out again for this bad one that we got out of the spares. And so now we have essentially 48 good cells. And you've got them pretty close to 2.75 volts.
Every one of them.
Now, when we say that, I get this question quite often, how close is close?
Yeah.
What's your range probably that you have these?
It varies from, I don't know, 2.68 to anywhere from 2.799. Yeah.
Couple even up over 2.8.
Yeah, 2.8, right at, barely. Yeah.
Right. So that's, the closer you can get it, the better. But absolute fanaticism about that is not really that productive.
Yeah.
I've had 2 things this week. One, I got an email from a guy that said I was completely full of crap, and he had 40 cells and had them for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Bottom balanced them,
Right.
lost 2 to overcharging, even though he only charged to 3.5 volts times the number of cells.
Really?
And that the whole bottom balancing thing is a bunch of hooey. And he knows this. He didn't really provide any specifics.
I was going to say,
Beyond
yeah,
that.
we are from Missouri, so.
And yes, and he allowed that I'd never change my mind.
Yeah.
Actually, I've changed my mind several times. Those that have followed us over 4 years this month are aware that the whole bottom balancing thing came about in a quest for a battery management system.
Yeah, I see.
And to find one, we did the original Speedster, and then we added more cells to it.
Yeah.
And we had some problems with that. And following Rich Redmond's advice, we top balanced them all to exactly 4 volts.
How'd that work?
We lost half the cells
I knew you was going to say
Jim.
that. Yeah.
without even really running them out.
Yeah.
Now, this guy sends me an email. What's my response supposed to be? We just last week ran the original Speedster down to 6.5 volts across 57 cells.
That's correct.
Recharged it, and it's perfectly operational. The thing that fell out of it was we had to recalibrate the throttle for some reason with the Solitron.
Yeah.
It would turn on intermittently, and it turned out that our throttle voltage
Yeah.
had somehow
I know it.
drifted or something, and the Soliton was reading it as
Yeah.
a throttle on when it came on, or something. It wouldn't start the motor, but the battery pack's fine.
Yes, it is.
So we're not really guessing on this, guys. We've developed this over years and have, on at least 2 occasions, ran a car completely out of juice and retrieved all the cells. Here we have a truck that all the cells are overcharged all the time. And in fact, when we
Yeah.
first read them, they were
Right.
all at 3.45 and 3.55 volts. But 2 of the cells were not really good, and one of them
Yeah.
was completely swollen and bad.
Yeah. It was obvious.
Now, what am I supposed to do with that information?
Well,
We can empirically demonstrate how to set up your battery pack where it will survive the probably inevitable day that you do something and the pack goes too far discharged. And
Right.
this is the only advantage of bottom balancing is that it survives that event.
yeah.
The other end of it is not just not to top balance, but not even to fully charge the cells.
Exactly.
So we don't care what they're at
Yeah,
the top. We still had David E. and Lithion on DIY Electric trying to debate this. The debate's over.
Yeah.
It's a counterproductive function, mostly directed at burning cars to the ground. And I don't know what else to tell you except our first official act on getting this truck is to run it down and check
Exactly.
for bottom balance, and where they're not balanced, balance them. And then we're going to put them on a charger and see what that does. Let's take a look. All right. Shane, this is the front of the vehicle, which has been a little bit mysterious. Mr. Bonaron has a lot of little wires and fuses and things running around up here. But we have found the positive and negative ends of our pack fairly handy.
Yes, yeah.
I went through and bottom balanced the front.
You did, didn't you? Yeah.
And I got them at exactly 2.75 because there's 8 cells at waist level.
Right here, ain't they?
And all the Shanes in the back kind of crept up to 2.75 to 2.83 or
Yeah.
2,
Yeah.
overnight.
Yeah.
So these are actually a little more bottom balanced than those are.
They are. They are.
So in theory, if I check these and they're still good,
Right.
all the ones at the back
Will be.
will be higher.
Yeah.
We have checked dozens of times after doing this. Yes, they have different capacities.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a magic word called internal resistance, which has
Yes.
almost nothing to do with any of this.
Right.
There is no self-discharge on these cells that we can detect with test instruments. And so they don't drift around.
No, they don't.
I won't say that they don't drift around. The
Yeah.
degree to which they drift around, you would be rebottom balancing every 5 to 7 years.
Yeah. I understand.
Perhaps. It's just not enough to fool with. And so I've kind of intentionally put the set of 8 up front just a hair lower than the other ones.
You did.
So I can walk to the front of the vehicle, test their situation.
Right.
And
Right.
at the bottom of the discharge curve, these would be fairly representative. So we're now charging the vehicle. I'm sorry, Jerry, I don't really know that much about Zyvan chargers. What I do
Yeah.
know about them, I don't like. They share all the
I see.
inconveniences of the TCCH charger,
Oh, is
or
that right?
also
Yeah.
known as the Elcon, in that they have to be sent away for the voltage to be fixed.
Yeah.
The unit you have is, I think they call it an NLG3. It's fairly enormous. It's quite a powerful charger.
It is. It is.
But I just can't deal with that rig.
Right.
We're eventually going to put a charger in the vehicle anyway. It's just, I'm sorry. It's just a tradition here at EVTV. We put chargers in all the cars.
Yes.
Full speed torpedoes, damn the expense, in case we're somewhere else and need to
That's
charge
exactly.
the car. It doesn't come up much,
No.
but it's surely inconvenient if we're 30 miles away and fully drained to get back to the house to charge it.
Yes, sir.
What I am using here to charge it is actually a TCCH or Elcon PFC 4000.
Yeah.
This is a charger that nominally does 4 kilowatts. It'll actually do up to about 4,500 watts,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know.
but 22 amps is kind of the limit.
It is, ain't it? Yeah. I could have swore when we bought them that they said it was up to 32 or 36, but
It depends on the voltage you get on it.
yeah,
I
exactly.
can get a lower voltage one,
Yeah.
it'll do higher amps.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
This one, I think it does 217 volts.
Yeah.
And so 22 amps is the most it'll do.
I see.
40, about 4.5 kilowatts
Yeah.
is the maximum power. And it needs kind of a minimum voltage. For
It
some
does,
reason, these won't charge below about 30-something volts.
Right. Right.
And in fact, they will report to you that they are charging at full current and be charging at half current if you're less than about half of their max voltage.
I remember that. Yeah.
It's very strange.
It is.
This is a CAN bus controlled version, and we have a CAN bus port here. This is a little hard disk enclosure. Then I have an Arduino, actually the Makina
Yeah.
from a Recharge Car that has a CAN bus port in it, and it's an Arduino microprocessor. And it's got a program loaded into it that I and Nate up in Illinois have worked on together, and using the spec for the
Right.
TCCH charger, and we can command how much voltage and current and the termination current that it does. Here I'm monitoring that on a serial port. It doesn't matter, I can disconnect this entirely. The only reason I need a computer hooked up to it is if I want to watch,
Watch. Yeah. That's exactly.
and or if I want to change.
Yeah. I see.
Now, if I enter V, I've got 175 volts here. If I enter V174 and return, it's going to change the target voltage that it's telling the charger from 175 to
Right.
174 volts.
I see.
The charger reports its measured voltage, which is right now 162.3. Then I can also enter an A or an amp level that I want to go to, and I can enter A40 if I like.
Right.
And that's telling it what current level I want to charge at. It absolutely doesn't matter because it isn't
No,
going to do
ain't-
more than 22.
They got to do more anyway, so I know and
But I could put less than 22 and it'll do that.
it'll do that.
But if I put over 22, all I get is 22.
Right.
And then the next column indicates the current charge level.
Right.
If I enter T and a number, that is my termination current.
Oh, yeah.
0.05C, these are 200 amp hour cells. So I'm going to enter T, no space or anything, just T10, enter. And that sets my terminate value at 10 amperes.
10 amperes, ain't it?
This will cause this charger to charge to my target voltage, 174 volts. And it's been my experience that it exceeds that by half a volt or 3/4 of a volt. And then it will start bringing the current down to try to maintain that voltage.
Right, right.
And at 10 amps, which is where I told it to quit, when it gets down to 10 amps, or it gets down to below 10 amps,
Yeah.
at that voltage, it terminates.
And it also gets less accurate at the lower voltage, don't it?
Well, like I say, you,
Yeah.
you get this thing where it's reporting full current
Yeah.
and delivering half current, exactly
It does,
half.
Yeah, exactly
50%
half. I
current.
know it. Yeah.
That's an oddity of it. Here's what I like about this charger.
Yeah,
It's Chinese. They do fail,
they do.
but they usually fail by burning up and quitting.
Yeah,
They're pretty good about hitting their mark
Yeah.
and terminating.
right.
However, it has a neat function of its CAN bus
Yeah,
in that it looks for a CAN bus message
right.
every second.
Every second, ain't it? Yeah.
Actually, you really don't want more than 2 per second. It kind of gets confused.
Yeah, I see.
I'm not sure you can run this on a CAN bus with other things.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah.
But if it doesn't get one for 5 seconds from the Arduino,
Yeah.
it just quits.
Huh. It's got a double safety, don't it?
It does.
yeah.
It's if you run this and the Arduino gets lost or gets confused, lightning
Right.
strike,
I see.
it just gets a little goofy. Then it simply goes away. The charger will just quit.
It will, yeah.
It issues a communication error and stops charging.
Yeah.
One of the problems with this rig, and I don't really have it wired up yet, is that you need 12 volts external if you don't use the USB plug.
Oh, that's right.
So you have to be wired into the vehicle,
Yeah.
12 volts.
Yeah.
I've actually got that set up in this case to where the 12 volts from the CAN bus comes in here and is used to trigger our Arduino. I have a little relay in there. The 12 volts from the CAN bus plug is only good for 50 milliamps, but that's enough to swap a very small 12 volt relay.
I see. Yeah.
And I use that to apply the 12 volts to the Arduino.
Right.
So if you plug this into the wall, it comes up, it generates its own 12 volts, that comes out of here into here, it energizes a relay and applies your 12 volt vehicle power to the Arduino to run it. You do have to have 12 volts available all the time,
All the time.
to use this. Unless you always want to have a laptop powering the Arduino,
Yeah.
which is absurd. The whole concept here is you use this to set it, and then we unplug that,
Yeah, right.
and it goes away.
It goes away.
And this all works quite without it. And it'll continue to work that way each time you plug it into the power until the next time you hook up a laptop to it and make a change to it.
Right.
So this is a project we've been working on. I'm a little loath to release it without it being quite tested.
Yeah.
But so far, and we found out some things. For example, if I set it to fire that CAN bus message every half second, it'll work for an hour
It does. I know it. Yeah.
and then just quit.
Quits.
It just gets lost.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
But if I set it to fire off every 750 milliseconds,
Yeah.
it'll run all day.
It does. Yeah,
Well,
I
this
know.
is some of the things you run into in product development that
Yeah.
they do not show up until you test them and not like turn them on and watch the lights blink and declare victory.
That's right. That's right.
You have to use the device to do the stuff it was meant for in the various combinations of things you'll encounter before. So it's simply not available in the store because I'm not sure it works yet.
Right. We did a lot of testing on it, and we got it working.
And we will continue to do so. We're going to actually install it in this vehicle
Yes.
and run the
This
vehicle.
week. Yep.
And not here on a cart with me standing
Right,
here
exactly.
watching every move, but
Yeah.
like driving the vehicle, plugging
Right.
it into the wall, driving the vehicle, plugging it into the wall, and occasionally we will check and see what the current is
Right.
coming out and precisely what voltage it terminates at,
Yes.
and see if we come out any mornings and find our pack not fully charged, or maybe it quit in the middle of a charge
Roger.
and never got fully charged. That's almost as bad as overcharging the cells.
It is.
Now you get in the car thinking it's fully charged and drive away, except you can't drive as far as you thought today.
Yeah.
So we need it where it'll not only normally charge without overcharging and discontinue charge in the event of communications failure, a
Right.
lightning strike, so forth. But to where it will reliably charge all the way. And by that I mean let's have a lightning strike and lose power for 5 minutes.
So how do you reset it then? You just unplug it, correct, and then plug it back in and it'll reset itself?
No, I want this thing to where when you plug it into the wall, let's
Right.
say we lost power at night
Right.
for 5 minutes,
Uh-huh.
and then it came back up
Yes.
with a big spike.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I want this Arduino to come up and the charger to come up and resume the charge
Exactly. Yeah.
and finish
where-
the charge.
Where it left off. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you know, there's some operational things you have to foresee and test that it will actually do that. So we're quite a ways from actually having this done.
I see.
But right now, it's working
It's
pretty
working.
good.
I
I'm
was going to
pretty happy with
say,
it.
don't mess with it. It's working.
We've charged several things with this, and it works pretty good. So that's the battery pack on the truck. We've kind of surveyed it. There's some changes we want to make. I do want to replace the throttle pot.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of ingenious what he's
Yeah.
devised there,
Yeah, look
but
at
it
it.
doesn't feel good. Did
It
you
don't.
think the pedal was a little stiff?
It's got a bad delay, you know, before it kicks in, almost like a power band, you know. And then when it kicks in, it's there, you know.
Then it takes off
Yeah,
like
yeah.
crazy. So we're going to put on an Evnetics throttle pot
Yeah.
and try to use that same linkage
Right,
and get
okay.
that working.
Yeah.
I want to add a JLD 404 to it
Okay.
so
yeah.
we can monitor this, and that's going to require a little different shunting.
Shunting here.
And he's got some strange fuses there.
Yeah.
We'll replace that
Yeah.
with one of our Ferris Shaw mutts and a shunt and get a JLD 404 hooked up.
Okay.
And then I want you to mount this charger and Arduino in the back, kind of over the differential where it can't get smacked, but where it's, you know, out of the way there.
There's a nice clean spot on your side over there that I
Okay.
think we can put it.
That'll work. And I want to put on a J1772 connector behind the fuel door
Oh, right. Yeah.
to where we can plug it into
We
our
will.
charge stations. And that way this truck we can charge it at any of our charge stations. We'll be able to observe amp hours and voltage and
Yeah.
current. His dials in there are
Oh,
kind of the old
yeah.
style.
Yeah.
I don't know how he at 85 read them, but I
Yeah.
can't at 58.
I can't make
It's
heads or
too
tails.
small. And we'll put in a JLD 404 and try to make our acceleration feel a little smoother just by
Exactly.
changing the pot box. And so that's the plan for the Toyota Tacoma, the 2003. And this has been an electric vehicle since like 2004 or 2005.
It's also
when he
been
got
a
it
project.
done. That was 3 or 4 years before we started making
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
electric vehicles here.
I see,
So
yeah.
Gerald Botterun is a little earlier player in this, although in those days lead acid batteries.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so, but he has updated it. Thunder Sky 200s. I think you're going to be seeing 70 or 80 miles on this, and it's a pretty good little truck. Why don't you just
dri-
talk a little bit, and I'll shut up a little bit. You haven't had a lot of experience with electric cars,
No.
and you did take this one home, and apparently not only drove it 14 miles there and 14 miles back, but a mysterious
Yeah.
other 30 miles.
Oh.
Could you tell us a little bit about that, Shane, and what you encountered?
I don't know. I kind of fell in love with driving it, and one thing I noticed is how smooth and quiet it is. And I also noticed the noise of the other vehicles more than anything, you know. And that's something that takes getting used to, but it runs out very nice. It's a good driver, and it's very reliable as it is, even though it was built in 2003. And Jack said, I believe it's going to have a long range on it, you know.
So one of the things I really like doing with an electric car is pull up at a stoplight right next to the exhaust of
Yeah.
a Ford F-250
That's it.
diesel
That's it.
and hear that noise and have it actually blowing directly in my face.
In your face, I
as
know
a
it.
reminder.
I done it too.
Because that exhaust is about window height
Yeah,
on a little
it is.
vehicle like this. That's always
Yeah.
fun. Did you show the car to anybody over there?
Well, I took it to the mechanic in town, and I told him that I told him the carburetor needed to be adjusted. And
You thought it was a little off.
yeah, it wasn't running
Asked him to
quite
look
right.
at
So yeah. So I popped the hood, and he didn't know what to make of it. He ain't never seen nothing like it, you know. So. And he was awful curious. He wanted to know the voltage and amp hours and everything, you know.
Uh-huh.
And range, and I said we hadn't had it long enough to really know the range, you know, but I assured him it's going to be a long range vehicle, you know, especially with these big cells, you know.
Well, I don't know what we'll get. It's probably pretty heavy with 48 Thunder Sky 200s. Those have got to be 13 or 13 and a half pounds apiece. And with 48 of them, that's,
yeah.
you know,
It's
600,
some
700 pounds of cells on a, you know, this is not a Porsche Speedster to begin with.
No,
Pretty solidly built little truck.
it is.
I think.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, it's. I probably like these Toyotas better than the Chevy
Than the
S10s
Chevys,
and the Ford
yeah,
Rangers.
yeah, I do too.
It just they make a pretty strong little box.
they do.
And so it's a nice vehicle. Again, it's a shame they don't make these little trucks anymore. But I think this could be a pretty nice electric vehicle. I mean,
is.
I would say Gerald, certainly for the time when he started it and the components available, did a very good job on this build.
Yes, he did.
As I say, our discovery of bottom balancing postdates his upgrade to the Thunder Skies.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's that new a deal in his world when he's starting the construction in 2003, 2004.
Right.
And so I think we can do a little smoother job on the accelerator,
Yeah,
put
I
an
do too.
onboard charger,
I do
a
too.
little more recent metering, and bottom balance the cells,
Yeah.
and have a little more configurable charger, which not only postdates that availability, but
Yeah.
isn't quite available yet. I haven't finished
Yeah, I know.
testing
We-
the code that,
We're
that
still
we're doing.
testing.
But at that point, I think it'll be a nice little truck.
It will be.
You know, it doesn't. He didn't do any heat,
I was going to say there is no heat, but
and I don't think he did any air conditioning.
no air conditioning. But one thing he did get was the anti-lock brakes still work, and he's got a temperature. He's got a pressure switch over here off a air compressor to run the little vacuum
Vacuum pump.
Yeah,
And he made a
And-
storage tank out of what?
PVC.
PVC pipe.
Yeah, yes,
well,
he did.
why not if you
It
get
works.
it airtight?
It-
And I have not run out of vacuum
No,
on
me
this
neither.
thing at all.
Uh-uh.
My wife's,
No.
you pump the brake about 6 times and you're out of vacuum and out of
That's
power
it.
brakes.
Yeah,
This thing,
Not on
it
this one.
seems to have plenty in that storage reservoir that he built. So
it's got excellent brakes.
there is a piece of plywood there with an awful lot of fuses and
Yeah.
stuff that we're going to have to take a look at, maybe rewiring, but that's kind of a high failure zone.
It is, and these are high-powered, these fuses, so that's,
He does use a lead acid battery. Now, the problem I have with them is that they drain down,
They do.
and the problem we're going to have is I have to have 12 volts
Right.
to David Kurzel's AVC2 to be able to charge it.
Yes.
So that's a drain.
Yeah.
And I like to have the JLD 404 where it's always powered, and that's a drain.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And he doesn't have any drains on his.
None.
So
None
nothing
whatsoever.
happens till he turns on the key,
Key.
and as soon as he does, his DC to DC converter kicks in and charges his 12 volt battery. I can't get around having some things require 12 volts.
Yes, I know.
And that's just going to be an issue, and I'm not sure how we'll work it out. But if you leave it sit for a few days,
Yeah.
it's gonna.
It's
Maybe we'll just have the JLD 404 come on when you turn the ignition
turn the key.
switch.
Okay.
That's an option. That little AVC circuit doesn't draw very much.
No, it don't.
And so we might be able to survive that. Anyway, that's the update progress on our Toyota Tacoma. We picked a couple of low-hanging fruit type targets to address, and we're going to address them. But I'm convinced we're going to have a great little truck, and
Good
be
pack
able to
of
drive it
batteries.
for many years. Stay with us. And we're in.
You guys are having a blast. We were thinking about buying it and flipping it, and then that wasn't going to happen. It just can't do it, man.
Too many toys, and they're all mine.
You can't do it.
Nothing escapes the lot without a fight.
That's right. That's right. Pull it away. But it is pretty cool. It looks like a blast.
You know, there's just nothing handier than one of them little pickup trucks.
Yeah, it really is cool. Yeah.
In this area of the country, a guy's not really a guy without a pickup truck.
You got
I'm
to
sorry.
pick 'em up truck. Yeah.
I'm kind of a femme fatale guy with an Escalade.
And I have a Volvo
That's right.
and a bicycle.
Well, you're from the valley. You're not
That's right.
from
I don't
the
count.
heartland.
That's right. I don't count.
Visiting California and he can drive a Volvo. I mean, I can't be seen with a Volvo. That's ridiculous.
That's right. It just won't work.
Yeah, you really got to have them pick them up.
That-
truck
you
around
do
here
here, yeah.
and drink beer out of a long neck bottle.
That's right.
That's part of the gig. Yeah, my little TCCH CAN bus charger.
Yeah, that
and
was cool. They got to look
Arduino
at it. Yeah,
is,
yeah.
And actually, this test went flawlessly. It just charged.
It just charged. Yeah, yeah.
And so and that's a long day's work at 22 amps into 200
And
amp.
200 amp hour cells. Yes.
It's a pretty good long test.
Yes.
And nothing overcooked. The Arduino worked pretty well, and the Makina.
Yep,
And,
nice.
So that's coming along. You took the Escaladius to Norman's Radiator Shop this week, didn't you?
I did. Shall we show
How'd
them?
that come out?
Let's go ahead and give them a quick look at that.
All righty. Brain, it was only over at Norman's Radiator Shop one day. What happened?
Well, what they did at the radiator shop is we got all of the AC lines connected. We got the system charged up. They had to actually extend the hoses and pressure tested it, and we look pretty good. We've got to get our pressure switch from the wiring loom. It used to come under the motor in the front, so we're going to have to extend, I think, 3 wires because we have to have that pressure switch. But we'll be able to test it, and I'm going to bring it back there on Monday anyway and let them get the gauges on it to make sure it's all it's all good. But yeah, it's
Have you got any idea where what it is? Is there is a pressure sensor in the coolant lines, and apparently we have to provide that to the ECU.
yes, and we've got it. We've got the wiring harness and everything. We just have to extend the wires basically.
Do you know where they're at?
Oh yeah, we found the plug.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. No, the plug was tied up in the zip ties to keep all the mess. But yeah,
I didn't cut off very much off of that harness.
There wasn't very much cut
I
off.
took some of it back in there and removed some of the identifiers. So.
Yeah, it's been pretty good though. This GM has had a lot of. Not very many of the plugs have been the same. You know, unless they went to the same piece of equipment, like the coils or the fuel injectors or things. They haven't been bad. All the plugs have been a little bit different.
Huh.
So after they got coated with antifreezers or stuff or fell off, we were pretty good. We were
So
able to
we've got
recoat
a
'em.
shot at if we get that sensor hooked up.
Yeah.
At it working.
Yes.
By golly, we worked all winter on the heat. I had kind of planned on working all summer on the air conditioning.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Is that right? Well, damn.
I got my fingers crossed anyway.
Well, excellent. Because if you were there at the beginning, what was our criteria in even attempting a conversion of my 2008 Cadillac Escalade that I dearly loved that only had 8,000 miles on it?
Yes.
What did I say it should do?
Well, it needed to have hot and cold, and that was about it. It had to have environmentals.
And Brian kept saying, and drive nicely as an EV. No, that's not my criteria. If it moves as
climb
a
in
side
it.
product, that would be cool. But it's okay if I just sit there. But the heating and the air conditioning has to work, and it has to blow cold air up my skirt.
That's right, and I think I think we got it.
We're pretty much there.
Yeah.
The one of the things I found, I thought somehow in my head that seat was hooked up to the blower.
Yeah, it feels like it is. I was
It,
surprised.
it has a blower in it, but
Yes.
it's actually a Peltier system in the seat. And if you put this thing on high heat in the winter, it's really warming at first, and then all of a sudden your butt's itching from the heat. It's like, this is like ants attacking
Your pants
me.
are on fire.
Your pants are on fire. So it really puts out the heat, but the part I like is it puts out cold, and it is blowing some. And so I had thought it had something to do with the actual blower in the air conditioning. It's an entirely separate system, but I still want the main airtime. In a big black EXT, they put a big blower and a big evaporator in there, and it puts out some air.
Yes.
And in Missouri in July, I want to feel that air.
Yes, absolutely.
Even the first week of August, I want to feel that air.
That's right. That's right.
If we're going to have an EVCon, let's have that. All righty. Stay with us.
All right. So, the environmentals, we may be there.
Maybe out ahead,
Yeah, we may be out ahead. You may actually get to enjoy
you may
it.
wreck my whole
I know, right, the whole thing,
2013
yeah, I suppose-
schedule. See, I had this laid out where we'd have the heat working by late May.
Yeah,
we beat
which
that
we
a little
did.
bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Couple weeks now. I need to get the air conditioning done by last weekend in November.
That's right.
And here you are
In a day.
in a day. This thing's about to work. That's the result of some early work.
Yes.
With young Harbor helped us with the design and repeated the design until the machinist finally wanted me to buy his shop on that front plate, which has an air conditioning compressor, the original compressor, simply mounted there and driven off the electric motor, much as it was the
Right.
gasoline.
Right.
We did all that
Yeah, a
years ago.
long time ago. Yeah.
Now is the payoff. There's really not much to do to the air conditioning.
No, there really isn't much to do.
Extend the hoses.
Yeah, extend the hoses, charge it
which-
up, a couple of
what-
wires.
What I suggest, what do you finally do? I suggest just chop the hoses and put couplers in it.
Yeah,
And to get them a couple inches longer, and don't fool with the connectors on the ends.
No, yeah, he's got it. I'm not sure what he did, but
But
they
he's got it,
reach.
he's lengthened them and,
Yep,
and charged it.
yep.
And we're looking for a sensor connector.
Yeah, well, and we found it.
Oh, we did.
We found there. It's just that the wires, the limb used to come up the front of the engine
Mm-hmm.
and catch the compressor. We had it where it was way in the back, so we just got to extend a couple of feet of wire. And because that pressure switch is fairly important.
Oh, no, I'm sure the ECU's going to want to know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
before
it's
it,
yeah, and even for
fires
the air
up the
conditioning
compressor.
system, because it can overpressure or underpressure. So, yeah, that's really it. A couple little things. I mean, extending some wires and
So I might have aircon this week.
yeah,
Well, that's great because it's probably
it's got to be at least
close to 40
It's got to be
degrees
40
out there
degrees
today.
and raining. That's
on the 3rd of May.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
But yeah, I want my air conditioner to work.
Yeah.
And I've been driving the little Azure Dynamics the last couple of days when you had like you use the Escalade. I kind of miss the Escalade.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, yeah. It was
So
only a
that's
day.
fun. We got new internet this week, I see.
Yes, we got cable in, and everything seems a little faster. It does.
Well, that's good because we've had a request for some time. In fact, I've had the camera for some time
Yes, we have.
for a shop cam.
Yes.
Let's take a look. And now, my popular request. We have had numerous requests for a shop webcam. And we have added a Stardot Technologies camera overlooking the shop floor. That's going to be available on our blog menu, and I'll probably get it up pretty soon on the menu for the main website. But you can now see a full image pretty much of our shop floor and here where all the vehicles are from this camera right up here, mounted up pretty close to the ceiling and looking down on the shop to give you a scene of what's going on here. I'm not sure why everybody wanted that, but probably to catch me smoking cigarettes and sitting around when I should be working. In any event, we're going to put up this shop cam and have it where you can, from anywhere in the world, take a look and see what's going on at EVTV Motorworks at your leisure. And so that's something a number of people have requested. I'm not sure why, but it was easy enough to add. Charlie actually hung that about a year ago.
It was a long
Our
time.
DSL connection was so bad, and our DSL provider was kind of messed up the whole account, and I just didn't want to deal with it, and so I didn't. And now
No, we got it.
a
We've got cable now.
permanent IP number and
Yes.
a good cable TV internet connection.
Yes.
And so
There you go.
there's your shop cam. I think it kind of leaves a trail whenever anybody's walking, but other than that, it's a pretty good detailed image of the shop. I can't imagine why you want it.
But then we stand around staring
But
at
we
batteries
stand
for
around
hours.
watching batteries charge.
Charging and stuff for hours.
I mean,
So I guess
maybe
so.
your poison part.
I guess so.
The
They can watch us standing around for hours.
we painted ourselves in a corner, Brian, with this weekly sale thing. Kind of had some low-hanging fruit to throw out there.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, they kind of like it.
They gobbled it up. You guys are cool. We love you.
Yeah, we did $20,000 worth of Brusa Chargers this week.
We did. With,
Or
I think
thereabouts.
13 units, yeah.
13 units at $14.95. Couple orders of cables, which I think I'm out of.
I think we may be now out of cables.
I've got some more coming, but they're going to be more expensive. From the same guy, of course. Now he knows I'll like them.
Now he
so
knows that there's something he can sell them to us and doesn't have to say what we're doing.
He just wants a little bit more.
A little extra.
Oh well. So, what are we going to do this week?
Whoa. We don't really have parts to discount. What else do we have? What can
You
we
know
do?
what? We are doing a discount on the electric vehicle conversion convention to $399 until May 31st.
Yeah, till the end, through the end of this month. Yeah, May 31st. Yeah, $399.
I'm going to have to check and see if this is technically feasible,
Okay.
but I'm thinking we do a 5-day special, Monday through Friday,
Okay. So
just to test to see if they're watching all the way to the end of the show.
that's right. Anybody who doesn't watch the end of the show is not going to get this. It's the end of the show discount, the end of the TV show discount. Watch to the end.
Ani jumped in, wanted a bunch of chargers at the end. The European wanted the EVTV. Bruce is running a special over there,
Yes, that's right.
so this is something he can't beat me up on. Let's say $325
All right.
if you sneak in and register between Monday morning and Friday noon
Okay.
for the electric vehicle conversion convention.
All right. Okay.
And that's what, about another $74.
$74 off for 5 days. Yeah,
You're
why not?
taking food out of the mouths of my children. They're already grown and gone. What the hell with them? Go ahead.
That's right. Go ahead, take it.
They're grown and gone, and they were a pestilence. when they were
That's
here.
right. Take the money.
Take the money and run.
That's right.
And that'll be till Friday noon.
Okay.
This is kind of giving me a feel for how many guys are really watching the whole show.
The whole show. That's
We're
right.
gonna start announcing this at the end of the show.
Right. And then when you caught on to that, we'll put it in the middle.
And in a deep throat whisper.
That's right. That's right.
Right, where-
Secret codes.
Secret codes. If you know the secret code.
The
you get
EVTV decoder ring.
That's right. You get the EVTV decoder ring if you know to ask.
You know, that's right.
And so we'll do that. What else is going on? That's kind of all I can think of. What do you got?
I think we've kind of done everything except sign off.
Well, I don't have a 3-hour show for him this week then. What am I going to fill it with? Maybe we don't have to be 3 hours?
Maybe we don't have to.
Oh my God, you should have seen me editing that. If you think it was a pain in the ass to watch, you should have seen what it was to make it.
Watch it
I had one
watch
guy
it the
tell
first
me, I
time.
just don't have time to watch your TV show for an hour and 47 minutes. Why don't you structure it better or shorten it up or do something like that? I said, I have the 110 hours that week to make it.
Sorry,
You
to
ought
make
to at least have an hour.
Give me an hour and
47
give me an hour and
to watch it.
Come on. Give me a break. And you got a fast forward button.
We do get a lot of advice. I guess we give a lot of advice. It's an advice-filled world.
It is. Yeah. We're doing our part.
We're doing our part to
Fill the free advice void.
the free advice. I hope ours is better than what I'm seeing out there.
I think it is, Jack.
Back next week.
All right, see you then.
I don't want to lose you till then. Hang in there.
That's right.
If you don't have enough EVTV for the week, check out the shop team.
There you go. See? There's more where that came from.
We'll see you later.